You're just leading by example, like truly leading by example, because you're taking your life and you're taking control of your life and deciding what's important to you and what you're going to pursue and how you're going to pursue it. And other people are going to notice that. So the last topic is how to lead yourself so that you can lead others. And so this, I did, like I said, I was doing some research on leadership a while ago. And I boiled it down to 3 things, which I'll just list off, and then we can kind of get into a discussion about each. But just to kind of present, because I think these are 3 things that would really help you become an effective leader, again, in whatever capacity you want to be a leader in. So the first thing is to create a vision for yourself. So to create a vision of what you want your life to look like, what you want the world to look like, whatever. But also to know that that vision is going to change over time. I'll put that caveat in there. But so creating a vision, being the last to speak, which actually came from Simon Sinek, because he promotes that a lot, that idea of being the last to speak. And we'll come back to that. And also taking accountability. I think if you can do those 3 things, you can be a great leader, again, at whatever you want to be a leader at in your life. Do you have any thoughts on, thoughts on any of that? No, I'll circle back around to the creating a vision, but I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to say first.
No, I think I think those are 3 things that if you nail those things, you'll do very well as a leader.
Okay. And I think too, there's different leadership styles. And that's the other thing maybe to mention briefly, is that there's not ever going to be like only one style, because I think we all have a natural leadership style. But you might not even recognize it because it's so ingrained in you, you don't even know that when you're using it. But that style also might not work with everyone. So you kind of have to know, and I'm not going to get into all the different leadership styles there are. If you're interested, obviously you can find it on the internet. There's plenty of articles that will tell you what the leadership styles are. Or there's a great article on the expectation gaps that will tell you what they are. Woo, I'm back. No. So anyways, the point of that was that you might have a natural leadership style, but that doesn't mean that's going to work for everyone. I guess that goes back to the emotional intelligence too, is that you have to know where other people are coming from and maybe when to adjust your leadership style to match what works for them.
Well said. Yeah.
So I'll throw that out there, but then I'll come back to the creative vision. So when I say create a vision, I think there's 3 ways you can start to create a vision for your life. So the first thing, and this is so fundamental, I say this all the time, but you first have to know what your core values are. And there's a great website that can help you do that.
Number 3, watch out. This is the most plugged episode of all time.
It is. If you're not sure what your core values are, there's a great website you can check out. And I won't say what it is, but you could probably figure it out. But anyways. And that person who runs that website will actually help you figure out what your core values are if you get in contact with her. But anyways. I digress. I think that's huge because you have to know what you value in life because everything stems from that.
Yeah.
And then once you know that, you can start identifying specific areas in your life that you want to improve on. And then you can start make a decision to start working toward that vision. And this is what I was kind of alluding to in our last segment, where this is where you are not leading on purpose. You're just leading by example, like truly leading by example, because you're taking your life and you're taking control of your life and deciding what's important to you and what you're going to pursue and how you're going to pursue it. And other people are going to notice that. And there's like that ripple effect that we've talked about before. Other people are going to start noticing that you're doing that in your life and they're going to start copying you. And maybe in different ways, but you're going to inspire people just naturally.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the trick. And it's not easy because our egos get in the way. But I think that's really the trick. If you can truly do that without focusing on being a leader, I think you're going to become the ultimate leader.
Yeah.
If you can simultaneously, like, somehow not focus on being a leader. But here's the other thing that I've found, and it kind of goes with be the last to speak in a way. But another thing I found is that you can't lead people until they're ready to be led.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't force someone to follow you. And I think too, we put too much pressure on ourselves to be a leader. And then we go out and we try to lead these people who they're not even in a position to be led, at least in that area of their life.
Yeah, well said.
They're already set up to not listen to you because, they're just not at that place. And I learned this the hard way. And I'm still learning it. And it's something because I just have this need. It's probably some weird codependent need I have, but like I just have this need to help people. But the problem is sometimes I try to help people and they aren't ready for help or they don't even want help. Yet here I am trying to help them and it just backfires. Every single time it backfires. And I think that the same thing can be applied to leadership. And so that's probably partly why a lot of leaders fail, and especially leaders in business, if we go back to that, but because they are set into this position where they have to lead people because that's their job, but these people aren't even ready to be led yet.
That's very well said. Very good point. Yeah.
And not that they're not ready to be led, but some people need to be managed.
Yeah.
Like there's some people where in whatever facet of their life, that's the facet of their life they need to be managed in, not led in. Because they're just never going to be good at that. We're not all going to be good at everything. We're not all meant to be leaders at everything. So at some point, we're going to have someone manage us in certain areas. So I guess maybe that's an important takeaway too, is to learn when to be a manager and when to be a leader. Because you probably do need to go back and forth between the two, depending on what's going on.
Well, I think it comes back to the emotional intelligence piece because you're right. Like some people will want the big awe-inspiring, inspirational leader who will lead with a giant narrative and then, say, right, what are your actions going to be? How are you going to shape your destiny? Blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, whoa, man, like ease up. I just want to come to work, do my job and go home. I don't want to craft a vision for myself. And those times, that's fine. You can say, okay, well, that's totally fine. Do you want, I can give you some actions that, that I've seen have worked or whatever it is. Or, in that case, you can just say, do you want me to step away from trying to empower you? And do you want me to just kind of give you some actions and things like that? And sometimes people are fine with that. But yeah, it's emotional intelligence. But it's also very frustrating as a leader because I think when you get into that territory of saying, all right, I'm going to be a leader, I want to lead by example, just expect that people are going to be very different to you. And that's where the frustration will set in. Like it's being consistently, leading consistently, I think, in the face of people that are going to just be like, nah, I'm not trying. I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. Because, you can, it takes its toll. And there were many times when I was kind of in a role as a manager where I was going, oh my God, I can't be bothered with this team today. They have no interest in listening to me. Right. They don't want to work hard. But that's half the battle. You've just got to find each individual's area of interest, what drives them, what motivates them. And also sometimes there'll be people that you're going to have to manage out of your business because they are toxic, ready for that business context, and they will poison your team. And you need to, and it's hard. Performance management is hard, but that's another part of leadership, saying, I think you're not at the point where I can have you in this business. I will do my best to kind of get you back on track. But if you're not willing to take the journey with me, I'm going to have to get rid of you. And that's just something you need to do as a leader.
Well, and even in your personal life.
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, there's times you say, you're not ready to go down the same path I'm on. So but good on you. Do your own thing. Wish you well, but you're gonna have to hit the road.
I'm sorry, but you're fired. You're like, what do you
You're
mean?
fired.
I'm your
Yeah, we come
daughter.
back to
No,
that.
I'm
See,
sorry.
it's come full circle because we started out talking about that Donald Trump and that other dude. I don't remember.
Actually, can I also put a little disclaimer there too? I mentioned Donald Trump and Mark Boris, who's the dude who runs the show here. Mark Boris is actually nothing at all like Donald Trump. So I am sorry if Mark Boris is listening, because of course he is.
Of course he is.
I totally respect you as a leader because he's not Donald Trump. He's far from it.
I don't know who he is. So, but he's the one who would do "You're fired."
Yes.
Yeah. So he was the same role, but not the same. He didn't take the role on in the same way.
Man. Definitely not the same shade of orange. Anyway, sorry.
Got it. So maybe we'll talk about, because we're running short on time here, but
yes.
Should we hit be the last to speak or take accountability?
Maybe accountability?
Yeah, I thought so, because that's your core value, isn't it?
Yes. Hey, look, what a leader. What a leader. She remembers what her people is important to her people.
My people. You're my people now?
Yep.
Well, do you want to talk about accountability since it's your core value, or do you want me to say something first?
No, I'm happy for you to say. I've taken enough airtime.
Okay. Well, I think, and I'm going to bring it back around to the vision, but
yeah.
So I think you have to lead by example. You obviously have to take accountability for your actions. That's part of leading by example. But so many people don't take accountability for their actions. And I've been guilty of it, obviously, too, throughout my life, where I haven't taken accountability, because it's very difficult, because your ego gets in the way. And plus they're just worries. Like, you're worried maybe you're going to get fired, or you're going to ruin your relationship, or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of reasons that it's hard to take accountability. But I think once you have that vision and you've set your core values and you start making intentional decisions about your life, so that now you are leading by example, I think that it will get easier and easier to hold yourself accountable, because you're being more intentional about your decisions. And you have a reason for making those decisions. And so you won't be afraid to hold yourself accountable for the decisions that you've made. So I think that's how it all kind of comes back full circle.
Yeah, I like that. I think,
yeah.
As you said, if you live with values and then you kind of steer away from them or make a decision that's not aligned to them, then you'd have no problem with turning around and saying, hey, I made a mistake there. But I think that's a big, important part of leadership, is to be vulnerable and to say, I made a mistake, because it humanizes you to your people. And that's the thing that, like, kind of I've looked up in some of the studies I've done. They call it in business psychological safety. Okay. There's an academic by the name of Amy Edmondson who speaks a lot about it. And she said it's really cultures where people feel comfortable to actually call out mistakes. Yeah. And the ones that, do well and have a really good learning culture are the ones where the managers and the team members say, hey, I made a mistake, I'll put my hand up for that. But the ones that, don't feel comfortable, they don't develop, they don't innovate. So it's super important.
Well, the innovation, that's a huge point too, because you can't have innovation without making mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
exactly right.
If you want your business or even your personal life to be innovative in some way where it's just not stale. When I say innovative, I guess I mean that it's not stale. It changes with the times and it always remains relevant. I guess that's what I mean when I say innovative. And that's why I think you could apply it to your personal life too.
Yeah.
But if you, if you're not willing to make mistakes and admit to those mistakes, there's no way you can be innovative. And you're going to fall behind in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually that's going to catch up with you in some way. So, and I think we've probably we could go on and on because I'm sure we've both had those instances where we did not take accountability in some way.
Absolutely. And yeah, like we've gone over a little bit today, but I think, it's, well, firstly, it's our first episode back. So, we're a bit rusty, but secondly, it's an important topic. And I think the points that we've covered are important. And,
it's been fun.
Next week,
so it feels good. It feels good to be back.
It feels good to be back, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there with us.